What up, my people? What's up? Good afternoon on this Tuesday. Welcome back to the No Duck Zone podcast. Back for that boxing talk. I hope everybody's Tuesday has been going well so far, and I hope everybody has arrived to where they will go and safe. And if you're still traveling, hey, please be aware of your surroundings and what's going on around you. Good afternoon to all. Yes. We are back for this boxing talk, y'all. I got the little itis because I just had dinner, so y'all gonna have to excuse me. Bear with me. The itis kicks in early. It's just stuff that happens. But peace to all y'all, man. Peace to all y'all. Hope for the ones who didn't catch me this morning. Of course, we talked about Ricky Hatton this morning and the passing of him. If you're not subscribe to the channel. You're not here for the morning chop ups, which I'll be doing. Though I'll be doing the morning chop up tomorrow. If you have not been a part of the morning chop up, man, let me tell you, you don't know what you're missing, and it's important. I do a lot of boxing, but for the ones that don't know, the morning chop ups are super important. And I'll be back with it. So expect that tomorrow morning. I'm even thinking about going live a little earlier than 8 o'clock. I know I told you guys 8 is a great time. I don't know. I might be pushing for 7:30. I don't know exactly yet. I'm gonna take some time to think about it, but I might be pushing for that time. But I'll let y'all know. But we're here with the boxing talk. We're here to talk about a fight that it's not made. It's not a fantasy fight. It's actually something that could possibly happen. And we brought it up before, but why not bring it up again? I never did a full video on it. I just happened to talk about it. But Shushu versus Inoue. Shushu versus Inoue, and allow a lot of y'all gonna say that fight is not made. But so what? There's a lot of fights that y'all sit here and talk about that'll never get made. So it's okay to talk about this one. But let's get into it. So for my newcomers, my regulars, everyone, welcome to the No Duck Zone podcast. Let's go. Make sure my people you like, share, and subscribe. Always sharing the good word and telling people it's dope to be over here because over here we are fair with our content. At least I would like to think I'm fair with it. So anyway, Shushu being 126, Inoue being 122. At some point, do we see Inoue move up? I don't know. That's always the question. We just seen him against MJ. Well, I didn't see it, but I got the results of that, or what happened with him and MJ, and him going the full rounds he went with MJ. A lot of people didn't want to give MJ the credit and think that he'll just go in there and he would destroy MJ, but MJ is good. But I didn't get to see it. I'm actually probably going to go back and look at it. I would, it came on early Sunday, so I was still tired from the Crawford and Canelo. Because that came on late. But that's another story. So when I look at Shushu, and I look at how great he is, anyway, I won't take nothing away from him. But the problem is I'm not sold on him. And people are gonna say, yeah, because you're not sold on him because of course Shu's your guy, you're from the same city, or anyway, he's not from this country. That's why you're not sold on him, and that's not necessarily true. It's just something about him where I'm just not sold on him. Even after him beating Stephen Fulton, I gave him his credit on it. Even though people were looking at Fulton like you shouldn't have been over there, you had no business even being in the same ring as Inoue. Fulton went over there and he wanted to fight the best, and he went over there and did what he did. It cost him his oath. So what? It's part of boxing. You can only protect your oath for so long before somebody comes and takes it from you. I look at Shu And I look at Inoue and I think for 2026, if you guys wasn't here the other day, I mentioned about seeing the fights I want to see for 2026. Probably one of them is possible to happen, which my brother D Free just came by earlier and announced that I guess they're going to be in talks for Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson. Now, I'm going to hold my mule on that because I want to come back to talk about that. I'm going to hold my mule. I just need to wait to hear a little more information about it, but it's supposed to be in January of 2026. I'm going to wait to see. Hopefully that has New York written all over it. Hopefully that's not in Saudi. And even with this shoo, well, I can't say the shoo in any way of being, unless Turkey gets involved in that, which I don't mind him getting involved in it, but if it comes down between Shu and Inoue, 9 out of 10, Shu might have to go over there where Inoue is at. I know a lot of us don't like having to go over to these overseas places, and we like a lot of these fights in America, but at the end of the day, we got to do what we got to do. So if this fight was to happen and Shu would have to go and it doesn't happen at the Garden, it's kind of risky and it's strange, right? Because if we look at what Devin Haney went through, right? When Devin Haney fought George Kambosos, he had to go to Australia twice. I was probably more concerned about him going the first time than I did the second time, because there was a lot of bullshit that they was trying to prove. But you got to do what you got to do when you're trying to prove that you're the best. And even after Devin Haney accomplishing that, you morons still find ways to bash him any kind of way you can, which is sickening to me. But this is not about him. I look at 126 as, Nick Ball, Shushu, Raymond Ford, which I would love to see Raymond Ford and Shushu getting in after he didn't call Shushu a bitch. But I would love to see that. I can't say Stephen Fulton and Oshaki Foster. I don't even think they're in that department anymore. 126. What are they? 130, I believe. So they're not even in that department, but we can still entertain them because they're only a one weight class away. Which I know at some point, all these guys in 2026 to 2027 are going to see each other some way, somehow. Even if they move up. Moving up does not mean you get to escape the guy that you might be trying to avoid. You can move up all you want to, but at some point that guy can move up with you. So just be mindful of that. But I look at these guys, Nick Ball. I can't judge Nick Ball. A lot of people have their opinion on him. I know he beat my man Raymond Ford, gave him his first loss. So Nick Ball, I can't judge him. He gave what's the other guy that Jesus, I forgot the other guy he beat. So he's Nick Ball, for what we know, is not a bad fighter, but a lot of people are not sold on Nick Ball. But when you look at the 122 or even 126 division, and you say that there's a lot of comp there, which competition? What I mean when I say comp, I'd be just excited for the lighter weight classes than I do the heavier classes, because it's so much going on at the lighter weights, just as much as it is at the higher ones. So I look at that and I go, man, if we can just get all these guys to see each other, if we can just get all these guys, I don't want to say on the same page, because a lot of fights you're not going to see because you have to build them up. You got to build a lot of these fights up. These fights doesn't just come natural. A lot of them, it takes a year or two, but you're working on building them up. And that's how I like to look at it, because a lot of us, we want the fights to, the ones that we want them to come a little faster. And It just doesn't work like that. It takes time. You have to build it up. So when I look at the Shushu and I look at it anyway, and I go, um, of course, this is the fight. It doesn't necessarily, the fight won't necessarily have to be in the beginning of 2026, but at some point, summertime, maybe the end of the year of 2026, who knows? But I think they could go ahead and maybe get that in for next year. That was one of the fights. So, so that fight and probably the Shakur and Tio is one of the fights that I'm looking at for the new year. I said Wilder and Andy Luis. A lot of y'all say you're not interested in that. Well, there's a lot of uninteresting things going on in boxing, and you're still gonna have people tap in and pay attention to it. So if there is an Andy, which I'm going to talk about that, so I'm letting y'all know right now. I don't care who wants to hear it or not. There's gonna be some time as a Wilder and Andy. I just want to see where it's gonna go. If they talk about putting them in there together, I'm gonna let you know right now. I'm going to charm in on it. But watching Shushu's last fight, which he just had, I believe, what was that, the 26th of July? So the 26th of July, and Inoue just having his this past Sunday. I forgot how Shushu won his. You gotta forgive me, even though that was July. I totally forgot, but we know Inoue went 12 rounds with MJ, 10 or 12 rounds with MJ, which a lot of you thought that he would destroy MJ. A lot of you thought he would get him out of there. It would be a stoppage. He would just run through him, which I always like to say a lot of y'all don't know nothing about boxing. So hold on. So I think of this match, and every time when I look at it, some people say it's good on paper, but if Shu's not careful, um, he can get hurt in there. That's what you'll hear some people say, but I'm like, it's the same thing for his opponent. If Inoue is not careful, he also too could get hurt. I mean, this is boxing, y'all. Anybody can get hurt. This is boxing, of course. That's something natural. It's all part of the sport. But that doesn't mean we don't want to see it. That's something we still want to see. Um, and I'm hoping at some point um, but until then, um, we know that, and I don't think Shu. Hopefully, we'll see Shu at the end of this year. I would love to see Shu come back one more time this year. He just fought July, so hopefully, no, maybe December he'll close the year out. In a way, we probably won't see him again until next year. But hopefully, it's both sides could come to some type of agreement. And if both guys have to take one more fight before seeing each other, I'm cool with it. And if they don't take a fight before seeing each other and they jump straight into both of them, I'm cool with that too. Now, with the traveling and having to go to overseas, it depends on where the fight is at. It's love as much as we love for it to be here in America. Um, hey, it might not necessarily go that way, but I'm rooting for Shu either way. Once again, y'all going to say, why are we talking about this? And there's no fight between them. There's a possibility somewhere down the line. We just don't know when. I know Bruce Senior, who is a great dude, great brother, amazing. But I know at some point they all are going to make the best decision that they feel like they can make for Bruce. Now, sometimes it's not always about chasing money. It's also about making smart decisions. Sometimes chasing the money will get you in the position where um, you will tarnish what it is that you're trying to accomplish. So you have to be smart about the move. So at some point, when they do sit down, if it happens to negotiate, um, they're gonna do what's best for them. But, a lot of y'all want to see it. A lot of y'all are like, she was not ready, and y'all always so quick to just say who's ready and who's not. Um, these guys stay ready even when they're not fighting. This is what we got to remember. Even when these guys are not in the gym, they always ready because even when we don't see them, they're in the gym working. So it's hard to say that who they're not ready for. But if this was to go down 6 months from now, I believe they both would be ready. If it went down a year from now, I believe they both would be ready. That's Inoue and Shu I'm speaking about, ladies and gentlemen. I believe they'll be ready. Because you have to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And that's another thing in boxing that we got to remember. A lot of guys got to stay ready so they don't have to get ready. So I think when it's time for this to happen, it's gonna be amazing. And when a lot of people think it's going to happen, might not happen. Can you imagine Bruce Carrington, my brother Shushu, actually stopping anyway? And I could think about it vice versa of him stopping Shushu. See, I don't think just one way. I think both ways. It can happen either way. We're not gonna just think one way. Yeah, he'll stop him, and that's easy. It can happen anyway. Just like when I spoke about the Canelo and Crawford, I said, now this can happen anyway. It damn sure didn't happen the way I thought it did, but it's cool. It's cool. But different things happen because that's just a sport. You never know what you'll see when it comes to boxing, especially when you got guys that's top level fighters. Imagine. I mean, despite what you feel about in a way, until something comes out about him not being who we say he is, you still got to give him some kind of credit. So that's all we can do is continue to give him credit. But I'm not sold on him, and I will continue to say that until otherwise. Until otherwise, but it'll be great. And I want to sit back and see. At some point we're going to come back here and continue to talk about that because when the fight is finally made, all of y'all that weren't talking about it, you're going to want to talk about it because there's nothing wrong seeing if something gets made. I get it, but you know why certain fights that we talk about that hasn't got made, know that we have a better chance of talking about this and of this fight happening versus one that we know that we'll talk about it and then it might not, and then we done had a heart attack about it. And those are the kind of fights I don't like to discuss. They bring no value to the conversation. So a lot of times it makes no sense of talking about it. It would just be a waste. So I learned that. This particular fight is something that could possibly happen down the line. Now, a lot of us get fed up because we go, it shouldn't take all the way till September of 2026 for Inoue and Shoot a fight. Well, it took Crawford and Spence a while. took Pacquiao and Mayweather for a while. Everything doesn't happen, as quick as we expect. Sometimes people are not interested. Sometimes the money ain't good enough. Um, Everything is not about belts. Some people don't care about belts. Every chance they get, they'll let you know. I don't care nothing about no belt. I just want the bag. But it is what it is. So fights like this, we don't want to rush them. We want to sit back and just be patient and just go through the process of waiting. And while we're waiting, just keep in mind we got other great fights coming up. Um, not not just speaking of 2025, we're talking about in 2026. We're gonna see. I will hold my mule and see how true this Shakur and Tiafimo is, because all that stuff they did Saturday, that's cool, but all that don't mean nothing if we're not fighting. It means nothing. We might as well be on Love and Hip Hop because we're sitting here acting. So if it is true, uh, I'll definitely you could definitely expect me to make a comment about it, which I'll probably just do this week anyway. I might throw it in there this week because we got the Gabriel Fedora, and that probably would be cool. To start it off with. But yeah, so I'm just looking at the people, like I said, that's in these weight classes. Like I was telling my brother D Free, I looked at the guys from 122 to 130, and I go, it's stacked. And at some point, all these guys could possibly see each other, either trying to move down in weight or move up. Why would they move down in weight? Sometimes people are more comfortable at the weight they were before they moved up. You can't ask a person to move up in weight if they're already uncomfortable with the weight that they're at. Because then after a while it becomes a money grab, because when you look at them moving up, then you look at who they picking, and then you go, out of all people, how the hell did you end up picking him? A lot of times it's a money grab. It's not always about being great, or daring to be great. It becomes a money grab. So a lot of these guys are gonna give it their all. But I look at all of them. Shout outs to all the guys, even if 122, 126, 130. Shout outs to all of them. You see, we get ready to have Fulton. We get ready to have Fulton and Oshaki Foster. That's going to be great. I can't wait to October 25th. So when I look at the smaller division, I get a different type of excitement because no disrespect to everybody else, but I know that these guys come to fight for sure, and they're going to leave it all out there. Now, for y'all that probably saying, where would you like the fight to take place? Well, it doesn't matter where I like the fight to take place, rather if it's in New York or it's out there where Inoue is from. I just want to be able to see a good scrap. So it might have to be out in wherever Inoue is from. Might have to. A lot of people are not going to want that. But what can we do? I don't think him not having a fight here in America is going to change how Shushu performs. I would like to think not. We've seen a lot of our guys go overseas and fight. And they do pretty well, even when they lose. And when they go in a fight, they got a whole city behind them. They got a whole city against them. They got to watch what they eat while they at the hotels. It's a lot of nonsense that comes with what they have to do. So a lot of it is also sacrifices. It's not just about I'm here because I want to be the best or I'm coming to grab belts and all that. It's so much that comes with having to deal with that. You not even knowing if you're going to make it out of there. That was one of my concerns when Devin was over with George. That was one of the biggest concerns of, oh God, don't let nothing happen to Devin or Bill or any of the team while they over there. So when I look at fights like this and people go, well, we don't want to hear that. Of course you don't want to hear that because you're still on Bud. Y'all still on Bud and Canelo. It's time for y'all to wake up. But this is important because when the fight does come up, a lot of y'all are going to be such on the bandwagon about it, acting like you supported it. But then when I talked about it, it was like, yeah, well, it wasn't signed then, so it wasn't nothing to talk about. Never said it was, never said this fight was signed. I said, this is one of the fights I would want to see for 2026. This is one of the fights I want to see for 2026. There's probably about two other more. Like Shakur and Tiafimo could be one of those, but I'm gonna hold it and see what goes on with that. So for anybody that goes boxing's dead, boxing's not dead, but there are some things that boxing needs to not do to keep the sport going. But far as it being a dead sport, it's not. It's really not. Boxing's not a dead sport. It's still very much alive. It's very much alive. There's still a lot of great matches out there that we would like to see. Inoue versus Shu is one of them. I mean, we got Fulton and Foster. You don't want to see that? Amazing. So I think we all have to just be patient sometime and see how a lot of this plays out, because there's a lot of great things that's about to happen towards the end of this year and coming into 2026. All the other stuff that's happening around now in boxing that y'all don't want to pay attention to, all these WrestleMania matches, ignore it. Ignore it. Because whether we like it or not, it's money involved in that. It's money involved in that. And I mean, that's cool, but that's something I won't support. But even with that, we got to be sticking to real boxing, real topics, real matchups. And as long as we keep doing that, we can feel good about when we speak about the sport of boxing, because too many people are on the bandwagon of I need to follow what I see and what I hear. If I'm gonna be in this game, or if I'm gonna make it, this is what I need to do. And which you don't have to, be your own person. And I mean, once you start being your own person, you'll feel much better about talking about the sport of boxing. So I'm hoping down the line we do see Inoue and Shu. Now, as far as titles, I forgot what Shu. I think Shu has. I forgot what belt he has, but we know once he gets a belt, it'll make it just as interesting. And once again, just because I'm not sold on Inoue, that doesn't mean he's a trash fighter. Because y'all love to call fighters and all kinds of names. I try not to do it. I try not to. It's just me. Depends on what they did. Then yeah, maybe I'll take a stab at them. But other than that, I try not to do that. So me, I'm simple. My content is simple. Like I said, I don't break everything down like everybody, and I can only speak on it from how I feel and not from what I heard, because a lot of us are taking what people said and we're trying to flip it and make it seem like we said it. So I try not to do that. I try to just speak how I know and what I see and what I feel. And what I see and feel is that Inoue and Shushu could possibly happen in 2026. And if it don't, because a lot of y'all gonna come back and say, yeah, man, you was over there vouching for him, and like y'all act like people can't speak on their favorite fighter, and y'all getting upset about it. But what happened? You was over there talking about it. The fight ain't never happened. Okay, it never happened. Then what's the problem? You said it would happen. No, I didn't say it was going to happen, you idiot. I said I'm hoping in 2026. In 2026, this is one of the fights I would like to see. So before somebody go assume, but you said they will fight. I didn't say a damn thing. Don't put no words into my mouth. I'm gonna tell you, when you come over here, I'm not like the rest of these channels. Don't put no words in my mouth. Just like we don't know if T.O. and Stevenson is official. I guess they're in talks, or they said January of next year. Okay, I have to read more into that and find out before I could even really go speak about it, because you don't want to turn around and then all of a sudden there's no fight. There's no there's no conversation, there's no nothing. So if the fight between Inoue and Shu don't happen, I don't need people saying, but you said it was going to happen. No, I didn't. One thing about me, I don't give a shit about cloud chasing. I earn my subscribers. My subscribers are not given to me. I don't go steal my subscribers, you know. I don't go do that. It is given to me. So I'm going to say some things that's coming from the heart, that I'm not nobody's telling me to say it. You know, some of y'all get paid to some of y'all get paid to just say whatever. And I ain't talking about by YouTube neither. So that's what I wanted to say, y'all. I never wanted to go through, oh, where when Shu fought this guy or when Inoue fought this guy. I don't really care about any of that shit, because whatever happened in those fights happened. You can't change that, right? They both have won both of their fights. So hopefully next year, that's what we see. And if we don't see Inoue and Shu next year, I'm fine with it, ladies and gentlemen. It ain't that serious. I promise to God it ain't that serious. It's really not. It's not. Because, like I said, y'all will take something that somebody said and blow it out of proportion. And it's not, no, no, sir, no, ma'am. If he doesn't fight, on to the next, who's ever there for him. Maybe him and Raymond Ford. Maybe him and Raymond Ford. Who knows? Shu, one day we look up and he's at 30. Maybe he's at 35. Maybe one day Fulton will get it on with Shu. Maybe one day O'Shawnee Foster will. Who knows? So you got options. You got options. So that's just pretty much it, though. You know what I'm saying, y'all? I wasn't coming up here to make a big deal out of it. I just wanted to speak my mind on it, and that's it. So you guys come up here, expect me to gossip and do all this extra shit. Um, it's not happening. Not happening. Um, because I'd rather speak my own mind about it than to sit here and just be saying anything. Because I'm still learning the sport of boxing, just like everybody else. Just like everybody else. I'm no better. D Free, what up? D Free, you late. You're in detention. Late, Free, you in detention, homie. So we just got to be mindful of all that stuff, y'all. That's pretty much all I'm saying. And there's some other fights that I'm going to probably come back to talk about that I would like to see in the new year. I'm going to probably try to come back with at least 5 of them. At least 5 of them I want to come back. I might even do a show on it. Maybe let people come up on the panel, man. You know what I mean? Y'all come up and just speak respectfully. What D Free said? I like the tension. That's what I did the most. Yeah, you would say something like that, you nut. Freeze a nut. Freeze is super. He's a certified nut. But yeah, so I'm gonna come up and do a. I wanna come up and have people come on and. But I don't want it to get out of hand because some of y'all, man, y'all done got so used to damn debating and arguing. It's ridiculous. Having a normal conversation is out for some of y'all, man. Y'all be tripping. Y'all be ready to go to war. Well, y'all be ready then. I be telling myself, bro, it ain't that serious. So, well, let's see if the monster could be the monster against New York City. Let's see. Yeah, of course it's not set up. Never said it was gonna be. May not never happen, and I'm okay if it don't. But if the fight does happen with Shu in Inoue, what do you guys think? I just need you guys' opinion. What do you think? What do you think can happen if they do lock up? I mean, that's something that people have been waiting for. We talk about it, just like when we talk about um, Abdullah Mason and Keyshawn Davis. We thought that would have happened, man. That got kind of like ruined. So when you hear two guys that could be great dance partners, the first thing you think is, man, I would love to see that. I would love to. It would do great. Uh, no matter who is on, what platform is on, um, people are going to come out for it. So we'll probably wait and see what'll happen, man. Let's just wait and see. I got all boxing this week. I'm gonna come back and do. Like I said, Gabriel Fundora. Thursday, I believe we're gonna. Thursday, I'm gonna do 24/7. Y'all remember Floyd's joint 24/7? I want to talk a little bit about that 24/7, and then we want to talk about HBO boxing and what went wrong. For some people, they know what went wrong with HBO boxing, but then there's those that don't know what went wrong with it. So we want to talk about that. But we're gonna do a whole thing with this 24/7. Uh, Not just with Floyd, but just period 24/7. What did it mean, and would you guys like to see 24/7 come back? I mean, after a while they had all access, and then now they be having like camp life and all that. Like y'all be seeing they be having camp life. I mean, all that be cool, but how many missed that 24/7? Just the intro and everything they used to hear in that. It made you get prepared for the fight. The fight you could be what 3 weeks away from the fight, man. It just got you prepared, man. You was just like I couldn't wait, and if you missed it, you was able to go back and watch 24/7. You was able to go back and watch it if you missed it. If you had to work or something, 24/7 was dope to watch. And I don't care if it was Floyd on there or if it was Manny Pacquiao, if it was Mosley, it didn't even matter. Rather, if it was Triple G and Gennady Golovkin, Guy Golovkin and Canelo, it didn't matter, man. 24/7 was something special. It was definitely something special. And so Thursday, Throwback Thursday, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. We're probably going to talk about that and at the same time talk about what went wrong with HBO boxing for the ones who don't know. Not for the ones who do. So if you do know what happened to HBO boxing, we don't need you going out your way saying how you guys don't know this. Some of us do know, and then some of us, it just brings back memories of what we were doing at the time and where we were um, when HBO boxing was on fire, man. So matter of fact, we'll talk about boxing after dark. How about that? We'll talk about all that. We'll talk about the 24/7, what went wrong with HBO, boxing after dark. We'll come back Thursday and we'll get in and we'll talk about all that. We'll put all that into one. That's what we do. Look, y'all be good. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. I would stay longer, but I can't, y'all. You know what I mean? I be having stuff I be having doing. I told y'all I got that itis. But y'all know I'll be back tomorrow morning with the morning choppers, man. But like I said, the Inoue, shoo. Hopefully it happens, man. I'm just me. I'm a dreamer. I dream about stuff and just hoping that it'll happen. And if it don't, I'm okay with it. But I'm a dreamer, so let's hope. So when it does, then we can come back up here. We can bring people on the panel and we can have a conversation about it. We're gonna do that. So appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Y'all know what it is. It's the No Duck Zone podcast. Let's go.